Hello and welcome to my basic PI setup. This is just going to be a quick rundown of what I do when prepping for a new layout, which I've just done in the last couple of days. I've gone from a P2 setup to more of a P1, extract as much as possible, and then start building the factories for P2, 3 and 4 to then obviously sell what is required to my corp. But we'll take it from a point of someone that's wanting to learn quick and simple ways of doing PI. I'll be using one method on this as I feel personally you get a bit more out of it, and you also get a bit more of longevity out of it, which means you're not really moving your setup as much. At least I've certainly not found that myself from the way I've been using it. So to start, if you're just getting into PI, I would recommend command centers to at least level 4 and to planetary consolidation to at least level 4. If you can max them out, all the better. The ship you are probably going to find the most useful for this is the Galenti Industrial. The more levels you have in this, the higher the PI container will be. And then obviously have the standard version with a couple of cargo expanders for moving your command centers about, which ideally you only technically need to be in space in the system you want to build your PI on. You can basically sit at the station tethered, put your command centers on the planet you require, and then dock back up. Now, these are things not an awful lot of people tell you. You only need to physically fly to the planet when you're lifting off from the POCO into your hauler and then warping back. Other than that, you can sit outside the station and take the stuff from the planet to the POCO. And if you're in nullsec like most people are, you can actually leave it there if you know nothing's going to be taken. So you've actually got extra space as well. So in that way, it is kind of more of a benefit for yourself. But anyway, the other secondary skills you will require, remote sensing, speaks for itself. It lets you basically access your PI on planets within light years. Obviously, the more skills you put into that, the further you can go. The planetology just basically allows you to scan the planet for what you're looking for. The higher the level on that, obviously the better, more precise scans you get, and the better for finding the white hot spots. Advanced planetology, it's the easiest way to think of it is like the Tech 2 of the skill, gives you more in-depth and better scanning. Other than that, it really, you could do without it if you're just wanting a rough area where the hotspot is. What I generally do is I have detailed scans of all the planets and the systems I use, and I have it on my own spreadsheet. I've done it for this one to show you. This is generally how I set it up. If I'm just doing a couple, I have an overall one where I've got these materials and then all the systems that are local to me, and then I have it like this, and it scans I think about 12 or 13 systems, so I know where the best item is for anything, and it's also accessible to the corp. But for this one, I'm going to be using basically this one here in NRail, which is a 0-0 system. So it's basically the entry level nullsec. As you can see, microorganisms is on a temperate planet. I can show you, I've gone into kind of detail with this, as a few people have asked me what you can get out your level 4 and your level 5 builds. Across both of these is the same builds, but obviously it gives you what's left. What I'm going to be using is basically this kind of setup. Basically one extractor head with a launch pad, and depending what I can extract out, 4 or 5 heads, will depend how many of these will have, which basically you use this page for if you want to narrow it right down. As you can see, I can go through this in great detail. I've broken it all down, how much CPU and power, and basically the cost of it. So if you want to really pinpoint your setups and how to build it, it shows you what you get, how much it's going to cost, and the different kind of layouts you can have. I put in just kind of graphics to show you rough ideas, just a normal build, a P2 extraction on one planet, the double extraction, which is one I'll use, and a couple of layouts for factories. That'll be P2 and 3, and then your P4. P4 can only really be done on barons, as they have the advanced factories, which take up a lot more power. So, as you can see, basically, level 5, you can have a little bit difference. You can have the 3 extractors, or basically a setup like this, which is 20. Yeah, sorry, 21. 21 or 20, but it kind of roughly works out about there before launch pads. Obviously, I've not got that exactly out there. That's just giving you another option to look at. The paperwork, well, the stats are here for this one and this one. So I will get to this in a minute. What I will do is I will bring up my game. And as you can see, I've already got the planet kind of set up to the sense of building. First thing to do is, depending on your skill range, you basically upgrade and submit. And then the first thing you want to do is do a scan. Now, I've got this beside where I want, so I know that white hotspot's there. But I will basically take it from where you want. I normally build my command center, top center, and then it doesn't matter what I can spin the globe about. So what I normally would do is stick it not quite near the top, zoom out a little bit, spin around to see the kind of brightest red spot, which I know is that one, but this gives you a rough idea what you're looking for. So as I'm going to be doing a double build, I need to find that second spot. Bring this down until we just get a starting of a white. Have a look about that red. A couple of white spots. I would say, going by that, this spot here could be our second spot. Yep, there we go. So that's me done my quick check. I know spot 1 and spot 2. If I place that correct, I might have access to 3 areas, which means even less moving. But what I will do is I will show you a quick build and setup. That's actually good to know. You can use the high-tech on temperate as well. Not something I knew. So we'll stick that and up there. What you want to do is, you can see the black area, is to try and get that covering as much of the area you want to try and mine from as possible. So having a look, I know I can stick that just there, and that's absolutely fine. We'll stick the launch pad this side, and we'll create the link. You can also build as much of the infrastructure as you can before clicking submit. I normally do extractor head to my launch pad, click submit, then I know that's in place. You basically click on your extractor, go to a program. Now I'm going to set this for a day. Extract it for a day. We're on microorganisms. 2, 3, 4. I'll use 5 on this. I know it's not going to be a great deal. What you generally want to do is, for P0, a launch pad will take up to 1 million. In fact, actually, I'm going to set this for 3 days, just so that it kind of matches up with my usual setup. 3 days. I can add the end of this in at a later date. So what we do is find the centre spot. 4.3 was it? I'll leave it 4.2. The next one, I'll try and cover as much of this white area as possible. Sometimes a lot of people will say you don't want to overload your white on your spot, so you get that -1%. Sometimes you can get a bonus out of it. Look, at the moment I'm way over. What I can do is bring that down. Interesting. There you go, right? I'm only interested in getting this to 1 million or just above it. But that'll do, because you will get some wastage. So I know this is 1 million out of it. Before I click start, what I generally will do is I will want to bring up my extractor. So 1,015,801. So here we go, and we are doing microorganisms, bacteria. I'll fill this in a minute. So we're extracting 1,015,801. Hours, 3 days is 72. That'll fill in that. Factories. 3 is going to be overwhelming. Yeah. 3 is going to be a bit overwhelming. 3 will bring us up to requirements of 1.3 million. See that I've got this all kind of worked out. So what we want to do is try and get this up to just over 1.3. So what I'll do is I will go back to our window and bring this back in. That's close. Move this in. Just till we hit a sweet spot. Go for 350. Sometimes moving in is not as good. 330, and what the rest with this one. There we go. We'll leave it at that. So we're now showing 1,356,803. Bring this back up. We get 1,356,803, and we're now showing a good setup for 3. I try and keep it around about the 3 factories and go from there. So we know this is now correct. It shows up, that's just rounding up basically, as you tend to do. So we'll drop this away and we'll get back on. Because that's now loaded in, you can click on Start Extract. You then need to click on Root, click on Microorganisms, create route to a launchpad. Now, as we know, we have 3 factories for this. Always try and get them as tight as you can. Right. Get your link. And once you're done with the link, as our microorganisms, we are doing bacteria. Yep, there you go. If you're unsure, you can roll over. So basically, we're now clicking on our factory. it should take it to the schematic. If not, click the first button and then you're looking for what you're extracting. I know it's microorganisms, so click on bacteria and we click on our destination, which is the launch pad again, and then just repeat across the 3. You don't need to keep selecting as it will pick it for you. Once that's done, click away. We now click on the launch pad. Now there's nothing in storage yet, so what we need to do is we go over to routes. This tells us what's coming in. Click on the incoming raw and we create a route and we pass it to each of our factories. Once that's done, basically test server takes a couple of minutes to catch up at times. There we go, finally. Just took a bit of time to catch up there. So as we've done this first build up and that's now underway, we scroll across to our second one and then we'll just do this as quickly as I can. So get the big shadow area, put that in the centre of roughly the areas I know I can touch, and I will just quickly build this just to show you. So what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to go for 3. Get my links. And with that in place, click submit and then go back in. We're looking for microorganisms. 3 days is about there. Oh, it's a bit much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Drag it up. And we want to try and hit as close to the good spots in here as possible. And try and get above that 1.3 million. Spot on. I'll take that. So what we want to do is we want to add in our second load, which is 1350 66. Tab across to 72 hours. And we're going to take it on 3. Which again will show us it is an optimal setup for the amount that I'm extracting. And as this is a double up, I've got quick math down there once I actually get the full output of it, which you'll see at the end of the video. So I can drop this away and get back to the ending part of the build. Start extract, and we want to route to the launch pad. Once that's done, we are bacteria. The more you get used to building your PI, the quicker you will get at it. It's not something that kind of comes at speed overnight. I mean, the full P1 setup I done today took me a good couple of hours prepping the system, clearing stuff off, collecting all my excess, and then that's done with that. So click submit. That thing is a bit quicker. So that's pretty much the build done. Now the added benefit of this is, as it's not extracting a great deal out the spot, you will be able to, at the end of 3 days, just come in, reset, just make sure it's slightly above. The also added benefit is you have some spare power if you want to put down an extra head sim or just to keep your totals above. And you should be able to sit on this for a good bit before really struggling with it. So what we'll do is, as that's completed, we'll close that down, and you can see it's sitting there working away quite fine. There you go, all done. So what I'll do is I'll bring up this sheet just one more time and just kind of show you off. So I'll just fill in the blanks here. System Planet 3, wasn't it? Not Planet 4, temperate. So that's basically I'll bring that across, copy it down, paste it in. So basically, you can fill this in if you've got a couple of tunes to it, and then basically how much you're extracting, whether it's P1 into P0 into P1. I basically call it tier 2, tier 3, and T4, and basically kind of match up. Just more for keeping your own mind and what you're actually doing. Over the 72 hours, I've not got 3 in here, but 4 factories should give you just over 11k, 5 up to 10 factories, which you won't really get, but in this case we have 6 factories on the go, so we should be getting about 17k or thereabouts in 3 days, which is a more consistent number than doing one big massive setup and pulling it all off and then trying to work it in that way. Is sometimes it breaks down a lot quicker and you have to move stuff and be a bit more kind of sneaky in how you do your setups and where you put your extractor heads. This way I find it's less hassle on yourself, and if your system is busy and null, you just basically reset and you don't need to worry about it. So the end part here is where all the kind of magic happens. The one thing that I know I didn't really kind of cover in great deal was how I got all this kind of information. Most of the kind of people that have done PI for any length of time will understand what I've done, but for the new people. So we're in Corona. So what I do is I click on the system I'm in, which in this case is Conora, and make sure you're on orbital bodies. It's usually on description, and right click, view planetary industry, make sure scan's checked. Doesn't matter about your scale or resolution, as we're not caring about this at the moment. And to fill out your information for the system and all the planets, if you're filling out the spreadsheet, this one is obviously a lava planet, and you basically just roll over base metals and you get your percentage. So you then add that into your spreadsheet, and then you just scroll down each one, and then it gives you an idea of what you're looking for on each planet or what the best option is. In this case, I've already done Kenora. No, I haven't in this case, but that's literally what I've done for the 3 different, obviously 10 planets. I've only used the Roman numerals as that's what the game uses, just so it's kind of like for like, and obviously written down the different types of planets. But other than that, that's pretty much it. But once we get to the 3-day cycle, I can then fill in this part and it'll show you. By that point, I'll have the expenditure in, what it costs us to build this, and obviously what the profit is off the first extraction. As once I put the totals in, it'll show you roughly what you get. So with that, I will catch you in a couple of seconds with the second part of the video. Okay, we've kind of jumped forward a couple of days just so we can show the extraction cycle now. As you can see, I've fixed my little kind of math error on here and also added in the math for that. I've also, as you can see, added in the expenditure for the 4 items built on the planet. There's a couple of ways you can do this. You can basically use your wallet, highlight everything using Control C and Control paste in here, and then you just basically take off the minus sign in the ISK, and then basically it's just basically simple maths. Basically run up and down, and then on extraction just make that count for that field, and then once I've got a couple of things in, I can show you the profit. So it's not going to be much for obviously the first bit, so basically your profit's going to be this square plus that square, because this is your cycle time that you're working on, and that's your overall kind of archive. So with that, I will drop this down and I will show where we are, which is currently in space cloaked. Even though it's a test server, it's old habit. So as you can see, the extraction is finished, and it's literally finished about 5 minutes ago on one of them. So I said initially around about 17,000 items. So first one, that's not what I was looking for. This one, 8,400, and the second one, I think, although it's got a couple there to do, I'm not counting that because that was the last cycle, so it'll probably work out a little bit. 60, 20, 8,240, so roughly about the same, but still it's over 16,000, whereas you might only have got maybe about 12 or 13 using the other kind of full-on method, is your total would have been skew for a little bit. I find this is a lot better to kind of maintain, and I've seen it with my own extraction where it's kind of been a bit more useful. So that's not too bad actually. Yeah, so 16,500 of bacteria for 3 days, which is not bad, even for just a straightforward 0-0 planet. My own, which is working on a minus 0.6, 0.7, around about those types of systems, I'm getting varying from about 15 to, I think the highest I recorded was 23 over 3 days. So it really depends on obviously the numbers of the planet, but there is a good amount for it. So with that, we'll just warp and collect. I've got it in the ship. I'm hoping I've got enough space for this. Oh, just enough space. Like it was destined. But anyway, so as you can see, as long as you're in system, doesn't matter where you are, you can basically go to your customs office and put it into space. That's pretty much us. I'll just, yeah, I'll start heading back. As I said, test server, it's not really going to matter. So I'm turning away, and we got, what was it? 16,600. So with that, we would put it in here, which is 16,600 single extraction, which is 7.6 million off one item. That's more or less paid for the build up straight away. Hang on, I'll show you that in a second once we get back in. That's a long jump. What I can do here is dock. There we go. What I'll do is I'll bring back up the sheet now that I'm heading off to safety. As you can see, I put in the bacteria amount, which is 16,600, and it's come out 7.6 million. So that's already added in there. And what I will do quickly is equals the sum of that plus that. Now you can add in formatting if you really want. So what we normally do is greater than and then equals, and we are K3, very green, add another rule, is less than equals K3, change it to red. So that gives you a quick straight look, even if you don't like that. And that's pretty much all you really need to do to kind of know for your extraction. Obviously you'll have more extraction cycle, and what I will do is I will show you one last thing, and that will be the reset. So what I would generally do is, if your system is fairly busy and you don't want to do an uplift, you can sometimes get 2 or 3 3-day cycles in your launchpad. It does cut it fine, so in this case we will reset. So we're at 1,300,272. So I can fill that in. 1,300,272. That way, we're still in the green for that, so that's good. Start extraction, and go up to the other one. There's 2 ways you can do it. You can click on it, or click and then double click, and it'll bring it up. So as I know the last one was okay, I know this one's going to be okay at 1.301. So yeah, let's go another 1.301.7.5. Yep, and that looks good as well. Just start your extraction, submit, and that's pretty much it. So you'd really just do that until you're kind of getting close to full. Now if this is in your own home system in nullsec, you can basically, if it's in the system, undock and just go through your PI and extract it to the POCO and then carry on. And you can double your space up that way and then just collect it when it's a bit freer. Most of the time you will get a day's notice if your POCOs are being hit anyway, because the first time they've got to put them into its shields go and then things, so you can always collect your PI. So it's kind of good in that sense. So yeah, that's pretty much it. With that, it brings us to the end of the video. If you'd like to see more content on Eve or any other videos I do, hit the subscribe button and or notification, and you'll be notified as soon as one goes up. And with that, I'd like to say thank you for stopping by.